Hello everyone, Darkizer here, welcoming you back to my latest episode of my Space Engineers Survival Series. I have managed to complete my work on my new drill ship, which I call the Deep Core Miner, and you are witnessing its maiden voyage, which means that I need to make sure that I don't smash the thing before I actually manage to get it to the point where I can actually do something useful with it. Okay, there we are. I do like the industrial cockpit. Now I'm going to go over to the cobalt mine. I want to make sure that I have sufficient amounts of altitude. And now we use the downward camera, get me an idea of where I'm at. Okay, so there's my cobalt mine. I wanted to wait until everything was fully charged, and I've taken the Scarab around and cleaned out quite a bit of the interior of the base, where I'm going to be building the large ship. Let me go ahead and take a look out here and see what we're up against. This is, as I said, this is my maiden voyage, and I know for a fact that the cobalt, as the indicator will tell you, the cobalt is not actually at the entrance to the cobalt mine. More is the pity. Reading keeps moving. Does not make me terribly confident. Okay, it looks like this is a true reading now, as opposed to some phantom reading. And I am going to use the drills in the traditional fashion because I do want to pick up some of this ice. I have not yet restarted one of my large-scale ice mining operations yet. I think that that's going to be something that's going to be coming up here soon. Simply because not only do I get a tremendous amount of ice out of that particular operation, but I also get a large amount of iron, which I can also use. And it looks like, I was worried that this was just a thin layer of ice, but it actually looks like it's going to be a pretty good layer. Now, as you can see, the drill heads removed just enough material. It is going to be kind of squeaky with my cockpit, so we're going to have to figure that out when we get there. But I know for a fact that I could get the ship up to 200,000 kilograms and it will still take off. So, since I'm sitting here, I might as well turn my docking collar back on. And I'm also going to turn on, I have 4 gyroscopes set on a separate trigger because I have found that trying to move this thing with 6 gyroscopes when it's empty is just ridiculous because it responds too quickly. However, once I get to the point where it's fully loaded, 2 gyroscopes are insufficient. So I have an additional 4 gyroscopes that I have set on that button as I showed you. And we're going to see, we're getting some good ice here. Now at 200,000, let me take a look at my cargo space. Oh no, I have lots of room. And as I said, I know I can take off with 200,000, and it actually looks like it takes off quite well. So this might be something, not just a maiden voyage, but this might be something of an acid test. And it figures now I don't have an effective fighter to fight with. I'm going to bring this back just a fuzz. To try to keep from smashing the cockpit. So we're at almost at 300,000 kilograms. I'm going to stop. And no, we still look like we have plenty of lift. And I know we have plenty of room. So we're at 300,000. We'll take it to 350,000 and see. Nope, still plenty of lift. Now I do want to take a look, and I still have ice on my camera. And while that camera only gives me a snapshot of what's going on underneath, it doesn't give me the complete picture. It is at least centered. So we're at coming up on 450,000 kilograms. No, I still seem to have plenty of lift. Let's see where my... we're about 2/3 full there. Nearly full there. Nearly full there. The ejectors are all full, but they only hold 320 liters apiece. And the drills are all empty, which means that I do have... I might be able... Let's see if we can go... I'm probably getting a little greedy here. Let's see if we can go to 500,000 kilograms. 500,000 kilograms would be a nice round number. There we go. Okay. And I know I can still lift off with it. So that works. And since the ship weighs less than 100,000 kilograms empty, I know that I have something in excess of 400,000 kilograms. Now I had my forward thrusters set up in such a way that I basically turn them off. And then I thrust forward. And it's sort of like being up in space. You can actually just coast, which saves a tremendous amount of power. And I'm actually probably at a slight downward slope, which is why I'm picking up momentum. I have in my upper right hand monitor, I've got my meters per second, I've got my artificial horizon, and then I have my power sources up here in the upper left hand side. So let's go ahead, we'll get a little bit closer. The large thrusters, even though this thing is heavier than I ever intended for it to be. Oh yeah, the large thrusters give me plenty of stopping power. Okay. Well, again, this is a maiden voyage, and so I wanted to test things out. I also have apparently at least 3 hours worth of thrusting power once the batteries are all filled. So now we're going to drop this off, and I'm going to fast forward over the gory bits. You've all seen ships dock before, so I don't think you need to worry about watching me dock yet another one, especially since the amount of wiggle room that I have in here is a little scant. So this one's probably going to be a little bit squeaky with regards to the docking procedure. So I'll be right back. And there we go. So now we offload our tremendous amount of ice, which will keep all of my O2 generators humming. I'm sure it'll keep everything moving along. Okay, now we get to actually go back out for the cobalt. Let me disconnect, and then let me check my personal inventory. Nope, not all the ice is gone. I was afraid of that. Alrighty, let's see what we have going on. There's the generators, large cargo container, oh, they'll take it, they simply won't draw it automatically. Well, poo. And that one is the one that I have just inside the door, and so that one will not have any room. I think that's my large cargo container that's out in the field. It's outside. So let's do that. Let's forget about the hide empty. And this is my main cargo container, which has got 81. I don't like having all this ice outside. Don't know what these are doing in here. Well, do we have enough room? Yeah, we can put all the ice in there. Okay. Well, that takes care of that. I don't like having all that stuff sitting around outside the base. Okay. Uh-oh. I'm scraping on stuff. I think I'm going to have to... I'm either going to have to raise the coupler, which might make it a little more difficult for putting certain fighter designs in there, or I may have to go ahead and erase that last row of blocks. That might actually be better. Don't you hate it when you hit the wrong button? So we coast on out here. I'm going to have to reset the location for this mine. Just in case I do actually try to find it in the dark or what have you. Squaring it up is going to be a little bit of a challenge. But after I saw how quickly I was going through resources, building ships, I knew that I was going to have to do something to bring in resources at a faster rate. The Scarab is a fine ship and has done me good service so far, but it just can't keep up. Now this particular trip, because I know I'm going to get through the stone, I'm going to get through the ice into the stone, I'm actually... Now is that set up? Hope that's not dumping ice. If it were dumping ice, I think it would be dumping a lot more. Although I'm not really cutting that much away. I'm hoping that that's leftover stone that I might have picked up. And I can tell when I'm about to make contact, because then the numbers in the lower right-hand corner, the total mass of the ship starts going up dramatically. And now I'm hitting the stone. And so the stone is being dumped out because that's what the ejectors are for. And you can hear them working in the background. That hollow tube sounding noise. Okay, well that's enough of that. Yep, we have ice, we have stone coming in, and then it goes through the conveyor sorter, and then it gets ejected right away. So we still have ice. Now I should be getting cobalt in here, unless I'm only just barely beginning to see it. And so I haven't actually begun picking up any yet. Ice stone, ice stone. Better be cobalt under here somewhere. I mean, I don't mind picking up just ice, but this is supposed to be a cobalt run. Now, as you can see, I can actually pick up stone faster than the ejectors can get rid of it. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to turn them on early, is so they can start to get a head start. But they will still keep the ship from filling up with useless material. Let me turn that off for a minute. Now, according to this, the Cobalt's still 14 meters down. Yeah, so apparently I still have 14 meters, and it's less than 14 meters because there are about 6 meters in between the end of my ore detector, which is located underneath the belly of the ship, in between two of the drills. I've got about 6 or 8 meters between that and the end of the first drill bit. So I estimate I'm probably 8 or 10 meters away from the actual Cobalt, so... But we're still running awfully close. If I want to cut things off at 500,000 kilograms... Alright, let me go ahead and shut that off. I'll let the stone ejectors work for a while. I'm actually starting to get Cobalt. So that's good. Oh, okay. I have more Cobalt than I thought I had. So now we'll let the stone ejectors work for a minute. Oh, apparently I had a lot more stone than I thought I had. And now all of the... Let me turn my docking collar back on. Yeah, so I had 150,000 kilograms of stone that I wasn't going to be needing. So... And again, the inspiration for this ship was primarily because of the fact that I took the Scarab out and I did both a Cobalt run and a nickel run, and it took me almost a half an hour between taking the ship out, getting to the ore, digging the ore, filling up the ship, turning around, flying back, and then emptying the ship. It was almost a 30-minute round trip, and I could only carry about 150,000 kilograms worth of ore, and the amount of... For the amount of time that I was investing, it just wasn't getting it. Now this way, you can see that I basically parked myself right over the deposit. And in this particular case, I was lucky enough to get ice the first trip. I'm not always going to be that lucky. And again, I'm going to run this up to about 500,000. And then I'll just turn the drills off, and we'll see how much we weigh after the drills get done, or after the ejectors get done, rather. On my next trip back, after I get done offloading all of the ice and the Cobalt, I'm going to make sure that this thing will actually fit through the door, since the other reason to build this thing is to help me clean out the bay for the Goliath. And I need to make sure it's going to fit through the damn door first, otherwise the first thing I need to do is modify my front door. So, okay. 93,000. Yeah, almost 100,000 kilos plus a comparable amount of ice. Now, since I'm here, to give you an example of how fast a hole I can dig with the right-hand mining, let's come over here to the, let's see if I can avoid the trees. I've got my nickel deposit here. Apparently, straight below. So now we're on right-hand drilling. Try to balance this all out. And I'm apparently directly over the nickel deposit, or as close to as I think I'm going to get. Now this nickel deposit is probably 20 meters below the surface. And this is how this rig was originally designed. And there's my nickel. And it's just that easy. And so now we're just doing more of the same. Bringing up nickel instead of bringing up cobalt. And there's no ice. There's no free ice at the top. But as you can see, it would have taken me several minutes to dig down through that with the Scarab, and I would have had to worry about what angle I'm at, because I have to worry about whether or not I turn the Scarab up on its nose, and I have to worry about whether or not I'm going to accidentally flip it over or something like that. With the Deep Core Miner, I don't have any of those worries. All I have to do is right-hand drill down to wherever the deposit is, and then turn on the regular drills, and we're off and running. And the automatic removal will clean up all of that loose stone eventually, so I don't have to worry about encountering it again. And then we head back for home. And that's how we do that. So now I have a lot of materials. By the way, I figured out that there's something going on here, and I'm not sure why, but my feet were clipping into that block last time, and it was causing me all manner of distress, and I'm not sure why. Now, I'm going to set one of these to process the nickel first, just to make sure that I can keep up with things. We're going to call it here today. For my next trick, on my next episode, I'm going to make sure that I have at least one fighter craft available, because the sky is starting to get busy again, and having fought one of the Condors once, I wasn't terribly impressed with it, and I don't know if all of them start out damaged or whether that's something that just takes place afterward. I'm not really sure how that works. But I have taken a lot of the advice of a lot of my followers and a lot of the people posting comments and so forth. My next fighter will not only have more damage output, but it will also have an armored cockpit to help cut down on the damage input. And we shall see how that goes. Again, your constructive criticism and your productive comments are very, very appreciated. Thank you all again. Your likes are also appreciated, and your subscriptions doubly so. This is Dark Geyser signing off. Have a good night.